Yes, good evening, Brew Chatchers. How are we doing? It's the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host, Lefty. A very warm welcome, even, to everybody on the stream tonight. How are you brewing? And what a great way to kick off the stream. Stu, thanks for picking up a membership. And Guitar Guy, thanks for the plug there. Floor Snake, thanks for throwing up the watermelons. Hope you're doing well. I'm tense. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Pretty tense one tonight. Tense, nervous, hopeful as well. Tonight could be the night. The Sumud Flotilla. Very nearly, very close to its destination in Gaza to deliver aid. I do have a, just make sure this is all functioning properly. I do have a multicam live stream. There, that's the current situation. No news is good news. That means no interceptions. At the moment, I think they're around 160 nautical miles-ish. From Gaza, of course. Unfortunately, there could be incidents prior to them reaching land. So we'll be dipping in and out of that live feed during the stream. Yeah, anything could happen. We know that this is a historic day, in fact. We're hoping it's going to be historic for the reason being that it opens a corridor, a proper aid corridor up into Gaza. It's also the first, it's the biggest flotilla, also the first that's been officially flanked by naval vessels from other nations. And we all know, of course, there's some well-known faces on board the vessels. Over 50 vessels. I think a few more joined from Greece and Greek islands. A few. Red F, great to see you. Yeah, please do follow Guitar Guy's incredible advice. Very sound reasoning. You'd be wise to remember to confuse the algorithm and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel as well if you're not subscribed. And then 1 hot minute later you can join other people in the chat. And quicker than you can make a hot tasty beverage, yeah, you can be part of the conversation. Also like to kick off live streams by thanking all the members on the channel. With the music on, I think. That should have been set up before. We'll find out which of the monkeys or chimps was responsible for that. But don't worry. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll be adding Stu's name to this list fact, I need to update the goal to 95. 95 to make you jive, people. On the way to 250. Thank you very much to everybody who's joined so far, and gifted memberships to others. That's a great way to support the channel. Super chats are also open if you're watching live. If you're catching up later on, please do consider using super thanks. And there's the Buy Me a Coffee page. If you can't contribute via YouTube, you can check out the link for that in the description of this stream or any other content, which I hope you've all been keeping up with. People, please do check that out if you've not seen it yet. 2 videos, I think, we've had out this week. Yes, that's right. There was it's only a short one, but it's definitely worth a watch. The ICE failing to keep up with a push bike riding delivery guy. 9 of them, and they probably think that they look like the balls. So check that one out. Also, Members First, which came out yesterday, was the latest content on the video. I hedged my bets in putting that out, or rather finishing that off and putting it out as members only yesterday, anticipating that Keir Starmer's speech would be rather lacking in substance, and I made the right call. I wouldn't have had much, if anything, to contribute to it. I think it's all there, but you can check out the Labour government so far so shit part 2. That's the latest content on the channel. Did actually say on a recent stream I should do an updated version of that, because well, you can see if you check it out, it's there in the comments. A few of the comments, people are like, oh, give them a chance, cut them some slack, they've only been in office for 6 weeks, you lefty loony. And now here we are. So yeah, the final main day of the conference, there'll be some fringe events carrying on tomorrow, I believe, but that's the main staple of the conference done and dusted. Won't be going through Starmer's full hour-long speech, but I'll just be getting into what he said, or rather didn't say. Spoiler alert, it's more of the same old, same old. We normally hear those phrases on a Wednesday. I think I'm right in thinking this will be the last week of the break for conference season. But I may have lost count. Point being, just like at PMQs, it was full of plans, delivers, change, so on. You know how it is, people. So they're going to be the main 2 staples of tonight's stream. Also, a bit about the ceasefire, air quotes, ceasefire. You might have noticed so far by lack of enthusiasm for the latest proposal. Certainly not as hyperbolic about it as Donald Trump's been, as the whole world agrees with me. However, there is apparently a deal on the table that Trump and Netanyahu have had a meeting together and come up with. Yeah, which isn't a great recipe, as we'll be getting into. Again, just lacking a bit of optimism, given how previous ceasefire talks have gone. Morbius and Graham Turner join us in the chat as well. A very good evening to you. Ordin Allfather's with us too. And, oh, we have some gifted memberships. Apologies. Just scrolling up the chat there. I owe another thank you to Guitar Guy. Awesome stuff in the chat there today. You're on fire there, Guitar Guy. With the plugs and now 5 gifted memberships. So please do enjoy your perks if you're watching. And that takes us over the ton, the 100. Big up, Guitar Guy in the chat, please, people. It's my pleasure to update the membership goal. 100 on the way to 250. Thank you very much indeed.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Thanks again, Guitar Guy _80. Mr. or they them, whatever your preferred pronouns are. Currently number 1 in the top fans as well. So that's going to take some beating, people. But I like a good outline competition here in the chat. Number 1 on the top fans and in with gifted membership as well. And thanks again to Stu for renewing your membership. That's super important as well, people. In getting us towards that goal of 250.
Damn right!
Oh yeah, I should have said as well, I'm going to just take this quick opportunity to make a quick correction to an error on one of the videos. You know, just say it's there on the record. In case no one said anything in the comments or anything yet. It's only a minor thing, but I did get my months mixed up. And I only realised this after I'd uploaded it and published it and everything. And yeah. So it was July that the opening clip was in, not June of 2024. Obviously, that being the same month as the election. And the month I released part 1 was August, not July. Just to clear that up, it's only a minor thing. But I didn't want to. It wasn't worth taking the video down and re-uploading it. So there you go. That's as good as a correction as I guess I can do at this point. It's on the record. Okay, where were we? Yeah, we'll start off with the conference, the Labour conference in Liverpool. Starmer making his keynote speech this afternoon. One thing earlier today actually jumped into my mind, having been a Labour member myself previously under Corbyn, but my mind went back to the fact that when Starmer took over the Labour Party, that as far as the finances were concerned, you know, they were up 35 million. They had £35 million surplus in the budget. The very sad thing was, of course, that purse was then passed to Keir Starmer. He's pissed it up the wall, essentially, to parachute in yes men and yes women, and yes they thems. But now, at the end of this conference, this is what it's come to. This is what the Labour Party has come to. On this day, the 30th of September 2025. So you think back then, they've pissed all of that 35 million up the wall long ago. But let's look at the state of it, shall we? Yes, it's Starmer Sutra time. Again, people, 100 different ways to fuck your country. Make up your own sausages, puns and jokes. So he went on for about an hour. I've only seen a few excerpts and stuff. Didn't watch it all live. I'd rather watch grass grow in the dark. As far as inspiration, I know it's not supposed to be entertainment as such, but in terms of politically inspiring, I would say not so much, and that would be using very favourable language. No, it was dog shit wrapped in cat shit, people. Of course. Just how bad is it? Well, let's have a look at, first of all, the official press conference. And it's a hand-picked 3 reporters with nobody else allowed there. Starmer's still acting as though he's addressing somewhat of a larger crowd than talking to 3 people. Normally this would be a sit-down affair. But no, it requires a metallic lectern, a microphone. There's 3 of them, and they're about 6 feet away from him, and he's got two glasses of water just in case. And the flag there. So furthest to the right, I think I can identify as Beth Rigby, who is from Sky. But nobody else apart from these 3. Yes, Mo. Like a smelly Russian doll, dog shit wrapped in cat shit. Let's check the chat's running smooth, up to date. So there's your first clue, there's your first indicator as to how well things are going, how much he's got to gloat about. Because if something screams I can stand up to scrutiny, it's an extraordinarily exclusive press conference with as many people as you can fit into the back of a cab. Now, you might be slightly relieved that I'm not actually going to subject you to any footage of the speech itself. I'm sure you've all seen enough clips or whatever so far of it. I'll be getting into clips of something else. There was apparently a bit of a hijacking. I'm not talking about a protest, although there was apparently some Palestinian flag raising during Rachel Reeves's speech yesterday. I just can't get my words out. I need a drink. I need tea power. Okay. But as far as Starmer's closing remarks go, now everyone in the crowd was given a flag to wave. It's one of the main things, and he rounded off with, go on, wave those flags, or something like that. Give those flags a jolly bloody good wave. Something along those lines, I don't know. Very cringy. Very, very cringy. And it was the usual, you know, the boardroom stuff. There's nothing in it, you know. They talk about boosting this and renewing that, and, you know, all these meaningless adjectives and verbs. So the only thing, see, this is it. There weren't a list of policies to go on and on about. Essentially, still clinging to the school breakfast club thing for all that it's worth. Now, it's rumoured that Rachel Reeves could potentially scrap the 2-child benefit cap in the autumn budget, although there was no mention made of that by Starmer in his speech. I think if that was likely, or indeed going to happen, he would be doing his utmost to try and hype about it. But he doesn't have anything to hype about. And even if that does happen, they've just scrapped one of the many unpopular, awful policies that they've had. It would be a good thing, yes, but essentially, as far as taking over from the Tories is concerned, that's not an improvement. That's just bringing it back to the same level as the Tories on one particular policy. And there's a whole host of others. Well, there was this thing yesterday about Starmer openly calling Nigel Farage and Reform racist. There was quite a bit said about it in the mainstream press. Thin-skinned Nigel responded with a video he made as well. Have you seen that one? I've not got that queued up, but it's yeah. Well, I commented on a post earlier on Blue Sky or Twitter, can't remember which, but have you seen that picture of him crying and captioned, "Mummy, Mummy, the big boy said something bad about me"? So that's happened, but I found that to be somewhat hypocritical and funny at the same time, coming from Starmer. Oh, something's going on. Sorry, just some stuff going on outside. But whilst he's been as closely imitating Reform as it's possible to do, he then attacks them or calls them out, whatever, for being racist. Which they are. Yes. But if, you know, I did a bit of a, not sort of spot the difference thing, but comparison charts in the latest video. Very hastily done, as you'll see when you watch it, but yeah, Reform UK, and then the slogan on the background and on the lectern at the conference was Renew Britain. You know, Reform UK, Renew Britain, stop the boats, stop the gangs, the flag shagging, the austerity-based policies, the Tories under another name. It's all there. It's all there. Like for like, they're trying to copy them. So any critique coming from Starmer is pure hypocrisy. Sorry about the... I can hear a few glitches with the background music. I'm not sure if it's coming through okay for you guys. Might just be my headphones being a bit dodgy, I'm not sure. Where was I? Oh yeah, as with the flag thing. No, I said at the end, yeah. Get those flags in the bloody ruddy air for Britain. He's... I guess... What's the best way I can put this? The most benefit of the doubt you can give to Starmer about all that, which is very little, is that he's trying to reclaim the symbology or the meaning behind raising of flags, essentially saying we all put up flags to celebrate things that the far right aren't. But that's not working. That's just, again, just going along with them, and that's just not going to happen, because now a lot of people who are putting up these flags are racist, and this concerned citizens thing and all the rest of it, the patriotism claims that don't wash. It makes them stand out. I saw a car going past earlier today that had no fewer than 4 flags on the windows. Speaking of which, also went past that crossroads where the video of the council worker having the ladder moved out from under him when he was taking down a flag by that absolute nut job. That is still there, I'm afraid to say. We've been through the whole flag shagging thing before. No need to get sidetracked with that. So let's get into a clip. Because as I said, there was a bit of a hijack, but not in the form of a protest. I thought that we'd do better to listen to someone who can actually talk sense than just go through bits of Starmer's speech. So Zach Polanski from the Green Party was there, and I think it's Declassified, who I highly recommend go and subscribe to Declassified. Did this interview with Polanski, who seems to have a lot more about him at the moment than Keir Starmer does. Depending on candidacy in my constituency, I dare say I may be voting for him. I've not decided yet. Depends if there's just one socialist candidate on the ballot or not. Let's hear from Zach, who's doing pretty well actually. They've hit 80,000 members this week, the Green Party, for the first time ever. Not bad. Up in the polls as well. Projected to win a couple more seats than last time, at least. And it's early days.
If reform can rocket through the polls with the politics of despair, what does the politics of hope look like? I think Keir Starmer's talking bollocks. I think sometimes you just got to call it what it is. When are the hard choices coming for multimillionaires and billionaires? When are the hard choices coming for the huge corporate organisations that are sponsoring?
Sorry, it's Politics Joe. Declassified's good as well, but do go and follow Politics Joe, who did this interview as well. Also, shout out to Politics Joe. Sorry about the mix-up there. I thought I had it wrong when I said it the first time.
This conference, one of the hard choices coming for the people who are paid £50,000 today to have a meal with cabinet ministers and access. I'm a voice that is speaking and listening to some of the people who really need politicians right now who will bat for them. And I'm absolutely going out there to challenge truth to power, to challenge excess wealth, and that's what I'll continue to do.
Zach, what the hell are you doing here?
Here to cause mischief, basically, if I'm honest. No, I want to park tanks on the lawn. Now, I don't do war metaphors, so we'll
should get in there with a Palestine flag. I mean, could you imagine that? That'd hit the headlines. That'd be great PR. A party leader goes to another party's conference, holds up a Palestine flag and calls them out for being genocide deniers and for taking lobbyist money and for the UK's complicity. You know, you want to cause some real trouble? Well, you know, I know I'm slightly biased towards that sort of thing, being an activist myself. Non-violent direct action, that is. But I'd suggest it. It'd get a few column inches.
have to find a different allegory for that. But ultimately, the reason why I'm here is because the Labour Party have been corporate captured by vested interests, multimillionaires and billionaires. I want to speak to Labour Party members and say, look, I get it, we got the Tories out, but actually there is an alternative. And almost literally everyone I've spoken to, including people who are here as Labour members, go, yeah, I voted for them, but I'm not feeling particularly enthused about it. And yeah, the things you're saying seem pretty interesting and exciting.
Sorry, just to come in again, should point out, I do actually know a few people who protested. I don't know if it was the last conference or the one. Yeah, I think it was the last conference. They went in. Oh, what did it say on the t-shirts? But yeah, that just sort of illustrates my bias again, sneaking into conferences.
And so I'm here to talk to people and ultimately say we don't have to do politics like this, and there is an alternative.
There was actually a fringe event yesterday, which was how do we save Labour voters from the Green Party? So, I mean, how are you attracting former or current Labour voters?
I believe that at that event, Thangam Debonair was speaking, who famously lost her seat to a Green MP, so it was interesting. In terms of appealing or attracting former Labour voters, I don't think it's hard, really. I think it's about telling the truth, talking about inequality in our society right now, talking about lowering bills, bringing water back into public ownership, and calling a genocide exactly what it is. If the Labour government won't do this, that's why the Green Party are not here to be concerned about them or to be disappointed by them. We're here to replace them.
Do you think you would work with Labour in the future, though, at the next election? Could you imagine a coalition between the two of you?
I think under Keir Starmer, it's almost impossible. I think we are way far gone now from any kind of sense of progressive politics. It'd be really silly to write off the Labour Party entirely because we don't know who future leaders will be. But what I would say about that, and obviously Andy Byrne...
That was an undercover sick burn there from Zach Polanski when he talks about future leaders. Maybe he's thinking along the same lines as me that he'll be gone very soon after May's elections, local elections, that is next year, and won't make it to the next GE. But at the moment, I would be very happy to write Labour off, I guess. No, it'd actually be a tragedy for, how the party was founded and the principles that first brought it into being in the first place. The only satisfaction would be to see Keir Starmer et al. Over and finished and done with. I guess a lot of us would get the bragging rights and the we told you so's as well. But yeah, future leaders, that is what's going to happen, because Starmer's not going to go the length this term. No chance. Minus 66, approval rating lower than Liz Truss. Economy crashing Liz Truss's 40 days, yeah, even worse than that. Absolute toilet.
Them is the name that keeps getting quoted. One, I don't think they'll let him be leader. I think the mechanisms of the party now are so strict that they will make sure that anyone with any vaguely left-wing politics will not be there at all. But second, I'd argue, even if they're there, The party is so far gone. The party has destroyed trust with the public so badly now. This is exactly why so many people are thinking about voting for reform. And so although I'm here at Labour Party conference, I could equally be there at Reform conference, because I think what really needs to be done right now is all the people who feel like politics is broken and that they've got no alternative is actually to say, if reform can rocket through the polls with the politics of despair, what does the politics of hope look like? And actually, could the Green Party repeat what Reform have done? But
Yeah, and that's a far more positive approach as well. I do like, that is refreshing to hear as well. That kind of look at politics on a macro scale, because all Farage and Reform do, and now Labour as well, in imitation, and I guess on a lesser scale, on a smaller scale now, the Tories being just about finished, but it's all negative. It's all, these are the enemy, and the lies, and they have to drum up fake stories and fake imagery about migrants, and just all based on negativity. And it's obviously driving working class people against one another, because the class struggle is the main struggle. Let's never forget that, people. But being blindsided by this race baiting that's going on has just gotten everybody talking about that and arguing about that, and we're all hanging around on the negative ground, man. You know what I mean? So come at things from a more positive perspective, from a positive angle, start to talk more about how we as communities can help each other out, from a local scale all the way up to a national scale, instead of the scapegoating and the bullshit propaganda, because I'm sure Zach, like I am, is absolutely sick to the back teeth of it right now.
But actually, with a politics of community, with wealth taxation, with ultimately being in communities and saying it doesn't have to be this way, that's the mission I entirely intend to do.
Does Andy Burnham offer more of an electoral threat to you than Keir Starmer?
No, I don't think so, because actually what I think it does is shift the conversation, and actually a bit how Kemi Badenoch has been totally destroyed by Nigel Farage. I see it as the same thing, actually. If Andy Burnham wants to do a kind of saturated version of the Green Party and people like it, then the very obvious next thing is, well, why don't you just have the Green Party?
Well, I guess the point he's making there is the same as Labour copying reform. It's not working. Anyone who was going to vote for reform still probably is, and they're not going to go back to Labour just because they're trying to copy him. It's a fair point. For anyone who hasn't heard, the latest on this Burnham thing, it's very hypothetical at the moment, this thing. I think the mainstream media are perhaps making more out of it than there could be. I've explained my reasons for that before. It's in Labour rules that the leader has to be a member of Parliament, which Andy Burnham isn't, and there's no way that any of the careerists in Labour are going to give their seat up for someone who's going to take on their pal Starmer. But for what it's worth, a poll came out yesterday or the day before. I'll try and remember and bring this up later on the stream, perhaps. Andy Burnham versus Keir Starmer. Who would people prefer? And when I say people, I do have to point out, I can't remember if this was an internal Labour poll, the general public, or people who voted for Labour at the last election, what the demographic is essentially. But I think I should say, about 60-odd% people went for Andy Burnham, who's currently Mayor of Manchester, where this live stream is coming to you from tonight, by the way, people. We do still have £2 bus fares here in Manchester, for example, because of Andy Burnham, who's been critical of Starmer in the past. Where this latest turn of can Andy Burnham be leader of the Labour Party started, I can't exactly remember, if I'm being perfectly honest. But my position on it is clear. Personally, yes, I would prefer Andy Burnham to be leader of the Labour. That wouldn't make me vote for Labour. I think Labour, Labour's dead to me now. I'll never vote for Labour again. But if you could get him in as Prime Minister now, yeah, I'd swap Starmer for Andy Burnham in a heartbeat. But I don't think we're ever going to see a situation like that again. So unless party rules allow, historically the Tories once had a leader who wasn't a member of Parliament, but that was over 100 years ago, I think. So there you go.
So whilst I'd welcome a more progressive Prime Minister, and I think for lots of the things I campaign on, like wealth taxes, for instance, I would imagine, and electoral reform, we'd move in the right direction. I'd absolutely welcome that. I think in terms of electorally, there'd be a very clear place for the Green Party, in the same way there is now with an awful kind of right-wing Labour government. A kind of soft left-wing Labour government is still not going to cut it when you look at the scale of the crises we have right now, both the inequality crisis, but also the climate crisis. We can't tinker around the edges, and that's exactly what Burnham would do.
Well, Keir Starmer...
Yeah, good, and very bold, because he's the only one really saying this now. We've got to wait for your party to get their stuff together. But yeah, soft left, maybe assumed by soft left he means democratic socialism, because on the political spectrum there isn't really anything like furthest to the right of the left, I don't know if you want to put it that way. The first leanings to the left would be into democratic socialism anyway, so he's saying perhaps we need more than that. Is he openly, without saying it, calling for something along the lines of Marxism? Maybe. Somewhere in between. Can we reach new ground? I don't think you can mention democracy in this country as well without the need for public assemblies, citizens' assemblies as well. That's something that I'm hoping the Greens and or your party and others will want to bring into the future as well. That's not going to come in under Labour.
Starmer says
Obviously.
that actually they're just progressive politics and the country wants progressive politics, and that's the best way to fight reform. So you don't think that's the best route out of populism?
I think Keir Starmer's talking bollocks. I think sometimes you just got to call it what it is. I think we had far-right marches on our streets just a couple of weeks ago. If ever there was a time to get the lectern out, to stand outside Number 10 and speak to the country... And
They swear a lot more now in interviews, politicians. Well, certain ones do anyway. They definitely get away with it more than they used to as well, wouldn't they? If he'd said that in an interview in, well, I don't know, let's say like the 1980s maybe, if that's where the red tops, the tabloids, the Murdoch press were at the peak, then it would, headlines, Polanski's forward slurs against, big fucking bold letters there on the fucking Sun. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, did you hear about Shabana Mahmood? There's a clip, a snippet from an interview with her at the conference, and they asked her, as a female politician, who most inspired her. She gave two names. You'll have to forgive me for forgetting what the first one was. But the second one was Margaret Thatcher. Yeah. Shabana Mahmood of the Labour Party. And that interview was also in The Sun. That's why I'm bringing that up. Reminded me about it. Do you remember Starmer's I'm not doing any interviews with The Sun during this campaign. Oh, look what they did to Hillsborough victims. Yeah. True colours now, isn't it?
Say this politics does not represent us. We understand that people are scared. We understand that decades of austerity have happened, but racism is not acceptable. And to have that conversation, what did we get? Yesterday, we finally heard the racism word from Keir Starmer, but it was in a kind of very, very gentle, tinkering around the edges way, rather than recognizing that we do have a crisis in this country and that we need leadership right now. And leadership is not kind of waiting around to see where the crowd are going and then running into it and going, oh, I'm with you, please like me. Leadership is actually setting out your stall, not talking at people, but genuinely listening to them, but then working out where can you meet. And we're just not getting any of that from this Labour government.
We've just heard from Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, that there will be more hard choices ahead. So I just wonder, what do you think hard choices will look like? Do you think that people can stomach anything more difficult than it is currently?
Well, I think hard choices always seem to be for migrants, for disabled people, for unemployed people. When are the hard choices coming for multimillionaires and billionaires? When are the hard choices coming for the huge corporate organisations that are sponsoring this conference?
Sorry, I'm a bit muted here. Sorry about that. Yeah. This is what I put on the most recent video, and I think I had it around social media as well. The harder choices to come. Difficult decisions. As far as the meetings for things like this might go. Oh, just checking. Have we got a buffering issue? Something freezing? Thanks for letting me know in the chat. Hope you can hear me. Is it still muted? All good now? Okay, well, I'll proceed anyway. I'll just rewind a quick minute for what I was saying there. Do you remember earlier I brought up the 35 million surplus that Labour had, that Keir Starmer pissed up the wall, of course. Was just pointing out that a lot of that would have come from members of the working class and poor people, elderly people, who had hope. And as a member, I still paid my dues, even though, whilst I was a member of the Labour Party, I was unemployed at one point. And just pointing out that now that there's all this corporate sponsorship, as they show the true colours, that really does add insult to injury. So well done, Zach, for calling Starmer out for having the corporate sponsors. And when they have a meeting about which choice to make, I'd imagine they come in, sit down, and then Rachel Reeves just says, okay, it's going to be austerity for the poor. Everyone agreed, and then everyone nods, and it's the shortest meeting in history. They get up and leave. That's all that happened. It wasn't a particularly hard or difficult choice at all, because they never go for the obvious one, which is to tax the fucking rich. For the love of God. Back into this interview now then, people. Just ditch this.
One of the hard choices coming for the people who are paid £50,000 today to have a meal with cabinet ministers and access. I think lobbying is where we should have the hard choices, not the majority of people in this country who need a government right now who are going to go out batting for them, not the super rich.
How much would it cost to go for dinner with you?
Depends who it is, but I'll do it for free with most people. That sounds a bit too cheap.
So you wouldn't have corporate lobbyists at the Green Party conference?
No, absolutely not. Now, look, there's small businesses, I think there's an argument to have money in politics in terms of sponsorship, I think is perfectly legitimate. I think that's very, very different to what we're seeing here, which is the absolute vested interest of massive, huge donations from oil and gas companies, from private healthcare companies, from arms trade manufacturers, from gambling companies. Basically, what I'm saying is if Dale Vince wants to throw me a few bob, that's fine, but I'll put that through a different category. I think what this moment speaks to, though, is actually people want left-wing politics. They want progressive politics. They want politicians who are bold about the things they stand for and the things that they stand against. And I think what's really crucial, and again, I see this in Zoran, and hopefully people see it in me too, is this isn't about saying inequality is the only thing that matters, sod trans people, sod migrants, sod disabled people. This is about saying absolute solidarity with marginalised communities, with people who are really suffering, and actually inequality is hitting them hardest than anyone else. I'm a voice that is speaking and listening to some of the people who really need politicians right now who will bat for them. And I'm absolutely going out there to challenge truth to power, to challenge excess wealth, and that's what I'll continue to do.
Are your policies similar to Mum Danny's?
Yeah, I think they're really similar. In fact, I'm watching his playbook carefully. I think there's things, for instance, someone accused me recently of wanting to nationalise Sainsbury's. It was someone from the IEA. I'm not necessarily advocating that, but he's talking about nationalising corner shops or grocery stores. And I think there is an argument to be had, actually, that if people can't get basic essentials, then those are the exact kind of things that the government should be moving in. We know since the pandemic started, billionaire wealth in this country has doubled. But meanwhile, millions of people are using food banks and warm banks, and those things are a lifeline for people. Ultimately, anything that people need is something that the government should be providing for.
Yeah, in one of the richest countries, food banks and warm banks, they shouldn't even be a thing. It's the 21st century. It's 2025. Absolutely should not happen. So it appears that for all the speeches at the Labour conference, the only person talking any sense was Zach Polanski, who was hanging around outside. Stu, great to see you in the chat. How are you brewing? Thanks a lot for renewing your membership as well. Much appreciated. Yeah, thanks for sharing all your thoughts about that in the chat as well. Hard choices are austerity. Graham Turner, you're personally done with Labour as well. Yeah, a lot of people are. Mass exodus. Membership down, hundreds of thousands of people having to go cap in hand to all these dirty corporations and lobbies for lack of public funding. Unless Rachel Reeves pulls something out of a lying arse at the next autumn budget, then Sharon Graham is probably going to ask members if they want to move away from Labour as well. So there you go. That's Unite the Union members. It's down in every column. One of the worst statistics, child poverty rates at a record high. Yep. Even worse on child poverty than the Tories. And in case I didn't mention earlier, I think I might have done it at the start, but during the full hour, Keir Starmer didn't mention the genocide in Gaza once. I'm not even sure if he mentioned Palestine at all, or even the recognition of a Palestinian state, which would be a manifesto fulfilment, a rare manifesto fulfilment, which is normally the sort of thing that parties talk about at the conferences, have a bit of a brag. We told you we'd do this, and but I guess he's contracted that far, or lobbied that far, that he is instructed not to mention them at all. Don't even think he mentioned the return of the sausages. Did any of you watch the full thing? If so, you have my sympathies. I hope that your psychiatrists have a good day tomorrow. Oh, seriously though, like I said, I would have preferred to watch grass grow in the dark. But if you manage to bear the full hour, let me know your thoughts in the chat if you're watching live, in the comments if you're watching back later on, and for one and for all, please make sure you've hit thumbs up on the stream, and give us a share around your social media as well, please do. That's rather important as well, a way that you can help support the channel with just the click of a button. Won't cost you a damn thing, not even the fraction of a price of a tasty hot beverage that a membership costs you at 99 pence for a month. Let's have a quick look at the live cams. We'll get on to the Gaza ceasefire next, in fact. Before we do, I do have some clips from some of the passengers on the Flotilla after the ceasefire thing, but just check the latest now. It all looks about the same. It's difficult to tell. It's night time. Of course, they're ahead of us time-wise in the Middle East. Let's check that is live. Yeah, it is. Let's just check out the cam. That's the wrong scene. Looks particularly windy, unless they some reason picked up speed significantly since the last time I checked. But no, just appears to be a rather strong breeze. Let's hope the the wind's behind them. What have they got up there? About 5 cams. I've had to lower the resolution slightly. Just so it runs smoother, but they are set to get there in a couple of hours or so, Doc. Notice that question in the chat. But they are, if they've not gotten there already, quickly approaching the point where the last flotilla got to before it was intercepted, which was the best effort to date. But today, the 30th of September 2025, could be the day. Like I said, I'm pretty nervous about this, pretty anxious. I don't know how to describe it. It's not even like sort of a World Cup final or anything like that, or a season finale of something you like to binge watch, but I'm definitely concerned as well. Of course, you've got the Spanish naval vessel there, sorry, 2 of them, the Italian naval vessel as well, and you've got the Turkish Navy has now joined as well, I believe. And Israel are Israel, the IDF are the IDF. They're not just going, oh well, you caught us out there, you sneaky with you. They don't care. If there's one thing we know about Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu and the IDF, they think rules don't apply to them. I'm sure that they'd be more than happy to attack any of those other countries' vessels and claim that they were supporting Hamas, or supporting terror and all. They think they have carte blanche. That international legislation need not apply where they're concerned, but that's just part of the delusion of their fascistic mania. So it's still no news, which is good news. Set to reach shore sometime this evening, UK time, that is. It's just coming up to 11 PM here in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I preferred coming to you from Greater Manchester. But if there is going to be any kind of interception, and let's remember, it's already 11 vessels were already attacked. One of them couldn't carry on, but since then, at least a further 3 vessels have joined them, I believe. But they've been attacked with incendiary devices. I'm led to believe it was from drones already. Oh, that's oh dear. That could just be a connection problem, because let's remember as well, there have been some radio jams, and they've jammed telephones as well. That is, the IDF have done so in the past as vessels approach. But you might have noticed the Sunbird, one of the Gaza Sunbird, one of the vessel's devices has gone offline. Let's hope that that's just down to a connection problem. And God, I feel like Alan Partridge here. Let's hope that's just down to a connection problem, and that all the people on board haven't been murdered. Okay, joking aside, we'll come back to that in a bit, in a short while. After we check out this, I say, ceasefire deal. Spoiler alert, it's not going to fucking happen, people. But the segment's going to be about why it isn't going to happen. Because as far as the mainstream media go, they're just essentially patting themselves on the back and dragging it back to the, oh, well, do you think Hamas will be punished enough from this? It's the rhetoric we keep hearing. Leave that there for now. Hopefully that the Sunbird, is it called? The vessel? Sorry, I don't know the names of all the vessels. We'll see if that comes back online shortly. We'll begin though with, and this is a Donald Trump warning, advance warning, trigger warning. The pumpkin spiced Palpatine is about to appear on your screen. He might say something slightly obscene. It's Donald Trump. Sorry. Just accidentally got into a rhyme. But we'll go through the announcements and then, like I said, why it's complete horseshit. Sorry about the corpse in there, people. Let's keep it together. This is a serious channel all about politics and society from a left-wing perspective. Go ahead, felony, touchy, rapey.
Man, however, I will say that. But if accepted by Hamas, this proposal calls for the release of all remaining hostages immediately, but in no case more than 72 hours. So the hostages are coming back, and I hate even saying this from the standpoint, doesn't sound right, but it is so important to the parents. The bodies of the young men, I believe in almost all cases, the young men are coming back immediately. I met with parents.
Of course, as I said about the our Hamas being punished, enough rhetoric coming from the mainstream media and Trump. The other focus is, of course, to try and, as always, make out that the nucleus of this situation is the hostages that were taken 2 years ago. It goes on and on and on.
Felt as strongly about getting the body of their dead boy back as they did, as though the boy were alive and well. It's so important to them. And it means the immediate end to the war itself, not just Gaza. It's the war itself. Under the plan, Arab
and yes, obviously the hostage taking was bad. I won't get into the ins and outs of the legal debates of the legality of it, but there are still hostages alive, and who knows when they get out. Obviously they have been through a lot, of course. You can't make any bones about that or jokes about it either, but I'd like to think that when they see the things that have been carried out for them, and that's Netanyahu's and Trump's way of looking at it, that they might feel a bit uneasy about that. Yeah, they'll be relieved to be out and back with the families. That would be a good thing. At the beginning part of a peace process, who knows? But I would hope that they still condemn Netanyahu, not just for the amount of time it took for them to be released, but for the things that he did in their name. As difficult as it is to imagine yourself in that situation, I'd like to think that I'd do so, even if I was calling out my own country. But wouldn't be the first, and anything that the hostages have got to say after they're released is always significant, of course. Many of them have pointed out how well they were treated, and they ate the same as the captors, and we saw the footage of them getting gift bags and making genuinely heartfelt goodbyes to the captors. Because for some of them, you have to be honest, it was probably a lot safer being held hostage in a tunnel than it was on the ground, because we do know that Israeli airstrikes have killed several of those hostages. The almost 200, I think it was, that were taken almost 2 years ago. I'll play the rest of the clip, but do have to mention, of course, the thousands of Palestinian hostages who were in Israeli prisons being held without charge. There's no real difference, essentially. Only the Palestinian hostages in Israeli prisons are treated a lot more severely, a lot harsher. And there have been many stories about that from people who've come out that would absolutely break your heart.
Muslim countries have committed, and in writing in many cases, but I actually would take their word for it. The people I mentioned, I'd take their word for it. To demilitarize Gaza, and that's quickly. Decommission the military capabilities of Hamas and all other terror organizations. Do that immediately. And we're relying on the...
Sorry about this, people. The audio on the
countries that I named and others to deal with Hamas. And I'm hearing that Hamas wants to
there we go. Sorry,
get
I think
this
it's
done
actually
too.
on the
That's
file.
a good thing. And
But
destroy all terror
to
infrastructure,
broadcast
including the
software.
tunnels, weapons,
Problem.
production facilities. They have a lot of production facilities that we're
I can't hear
destroying.
it.
They'll also help
If,
train
let me know if it's
local
breaking
police
up for you.
forces
It's,
in the areas that we're discussing right now, in particular in and around Gaza, working with the new transitional authority in Gaza. All parties will agree.
Yeah, is that audio coming through smooth for you? Because I'm getting some sort of interference in my headphones here, people. Just let me know, and then it's just part of the troubleshooting.
On a timeline for Israeli forces to withdraw in phases. They'll be withdrawing in phases. No more shooting, hopefully, as progress is made toward achieving these goals. Arab and Muslim nations need to be allowed the
We've heard
chance
this
to
before.
fulfill.
Okay, just slightly cutting to the chase here with the spoiler alert. Reasons not to be optimistic. Your first clue as to how this is going to go is the fact that this guy is telling you that there's going to be a deal and that there's going to be peace. Mr. fucking Stop 7 Wars. Mr. I'll get Putin to do a deal within the first week of taking office. Still, nothing happening in Russia. This guy doesn't know. He's being played by like a fiddle by Putin. So just by the very fact that Donald Trump has said that there will be a ceasefire, that should, by default, lead you to reckon that it probably won't happen. Is that all okay on the audio? Okay, we'll crack through. Then it's my shitty headphones again. I do have a different pair. I'll just swap them around while I play the clip. Let's play the rest of this rambling idiot, as Doc Davies rightly points out in the chat there.
All these commitments of dealing with Hamas, they have to deal with them because they were the one group that we have not dealt with. I haven't dealt with them. But the Arab countries are going to, and Muslim countries are going to be dealing with Hamas, and I believe they've already been there. I think they probably have an understanding, and they haven't maybe mentioned that, but I would imagine they do.
There are Muslim countries. I really hate those sort of terms. I just really do. Yes, you might be talking about, in terms of census, the majority of the population being Muslim, or in other countries Christian, or wherever. But there's no such thing as there's still no such thing as a Muslim country, and Israel is certainly not the first Jewish state, because under international law, you can't say that a country is exclusive to a certain religion. That's the way things have happened through history, through theism and migration combined, and geography, of course. But to almost make it seem so exclusive, because of course, if you're talking about Gaza and even Israel, there are Christians living there as well. We know that Israel have destroyed a lot of historic Christian churches. I think one of them was from the 4th or 5th century, I think, was the oldest one. Because theistically, at least, we're talking about the birthplace of Jesus Christ. But yeah, I really do hate those terms. And when that comes from the far right here in the UK as well, you know, this is a Christian country. And you'll hear it from people who, obviously they don't go and attend the local church and listen to sermons or whatever. They don't read the Bible. They don't, you know. It's the same with the MAGA heads. They say that they're Christians, but they certainly don't walk the walk on water.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone as far as they've gone. If they're unable to do so, then Israel would have the absolute right, and actually our full backing, the U.S. full backing. Marco's here, and a lot of our leaders are here, our great Vice President, Susie Wiles, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. They've been so involved in this process. I don't think anybody else could have
You don't
done
think
it,
anybody's been more involved in anything? Yeah,
close,
they've been so involved,
we're right there.
doing so much
We're
stuff.
right there.
I don't think anybody's done so much stuff, and microphones. This is the best microphone. I heard a lot of people are talking about this microphone. It's the best of the best.
First time in thousands of years, I think you can probably say, if you really look into it, if you study back, if you're a scholar, you would say thousands of years. Israel would have my full backing to finish the job of destroying the threat of Hamas.
Okay, and that's just something I want to highlight. Finish the job. He said that, and so has Netanyahu. Those exact words. Finish the job, which essentially means I'll round this up. I'll summarise this whole thing for you. Just very quickly, Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu meet up in the White House, suck each other's dicks, whatever, and then come up with an idea to announce that if Hamas don't release all of the hostages within 3 or 4 days, Trump can't make his mind up, it's about 3 or 4 days, I think he's actually said, then they will permit Israel to go in and finish the job, which just means to genocide the entire population. And America will back them all the way, as they have been doing, of course, since the 1940s. But this man on your screen doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that he's welcomed officially a genocider, officially someone who has a warrant out for his arrest for those crimes from the International Criminal Court. Something hummus, something sausages. But summarily speaking, as I said, that is it. So the deal being, you give us everything we want. We're not going to give you much, if anything, in return. Otherwise, we're going to carry on with genocidal war crimes, and who the fuck's going to stop us, baby? That's essentially the message from Trump. But
I hope that we're going to have a deal for peace. And if Hamas rejects the deal, which is always possible, they're the only one left. Everyone else has accepted it. But I have a feeling that we're going to have a positive answer. But if not, as you know, Bibi, you'd have more.
Well, we've already had the answers to that. That was revealed a short time before I came on the stream. I'll let you guess what the answer is from Hamas is going to be, but we'll play the rest of the clip anyway. Also, just a reminder, like with the deal in general, if he says it's going to happen, it's, the opposite. Just, if he's optimistic, you be pessimistic. It's quite easy. Because he's just full of it. I think they're going to say yes. He says everyone else has agreed to it. And here's the thing, right? It's not this dickhead or Netanyahu, or even potentially Tony Blair for that matter, who should be deciding what happens to Palestine and drawing up ceasefire deals. Palestine haven't been involved in these talks, this meeting between a dog and its tail, but you decide which is which, because in a lot of cases it's like the tail's wagging the dog, so to speak, between the USA and Israel. But it should be the Palestinians, maybe the Palestinians themselves got to say they're a recognised state now, and so you're just saying, we're going to sort it out. Well, we've set up this thing that decides who's in charge, and they don't do this out of any sense of duty. Or, we're talking about Tony Blair here, who has got way over 300 million invested in his son's company, which would just happen to have a big, juicy, fat contract if mandatory ID became a thing, you and Blair. Coincidence? If that piece of shit, Tony Blair, wants a piece of this, then he sees profit, he sees opportunity. This is I don't know if any of you are Game of Thrones fans. This is a real chaos is a ladder moment. He's that kind of snake. He's that kind of opportunist. But also an arbiter of chaos. Because when you can benefit from chaos at the same time as creating it, then that's pure evil, as far as I'm concerned. I'll just finish off by saying that, Tony Blair should not be within 100 leagues of anything to do with the Middle East by reputation alone.
Well, backing to do what you would have to do. Everyone understands that the ultimate result must be the elimination of any danger posed in the region, and that danger is caused by Hamas. The tyranny of terror has to end, and this is, again, something that we're looking for. This is eternity. This is for forever. To ensure the success of this effort, my plan calls for the creation of a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace, we call it, the Board of Peace. Sort of a beautiful name, the Board of Peace, which will be...
Well, this is the thing, if I could stop, Donald Trump comes along and waves his fucking magic wand, and there's a ceasefire, and Israel return to the agreed borders in the 1967 Accords, and the IDF withdraw, and then these Chinook helicopters come and land, and off one of them steps Donald Trump and his incredible fucking Team America effort, what they called again.
Name the Board of Peace, which will...
The Board of Peace. The Board of Peace are here. Relax, we've got this. It's the Board of Peace. And the Gazans will throw themselves at the feet of Trump and Blair in praise of their efforts. Is that what he thinks would happen? The Board of Peace. It's okay. Oh, thank God someone's here who's decided what to do with our country, scream the Palestinians. Like, really? And I get just back to well, it's even like 19th century, whatever, Western powers deciding where to redraw lines on a map, move these people here, put these people here, as though, you know, they're not actual human beings, and those lines that you're moving around on these maps on a table or in your head aren't actual geographical locations that people call home.
Be headed, not at my request, believe me, I'm very busy, but we have to make sure this works.
Get busy fucking off. Get that on your schedule.
The leaders of the Arab world and Israel and everybody involved asked me to do this, so it would be headed by a gentleman known as President Donald J. Trump of the United States. That's what I want this.
Fuck me, he's at the... And he's done this before, actually. I was going to say we're at this stage, but he's beyond it. Referring to himself in the third person. Yeah. Oh, this great guy, he just happens to be called Donald J. Trump, and he did all this, and just a minute ago he said in this is going to last forever. This is an eternal thing. This is going to last forever. Well, you're going to find out in about 30 seconds how long that promise fucking lasted.
Some extra work to do, but it's so important that I'm willing to do it, and we'll do it right, and we're going to put leaders from other countries on, and leaders that are very distinguished leaders, and we'll have a board, and one of the people that wants to be on the board is the UK former Prime Minister, Tony Blair. Good man, very good man.
A good man. 2 million dead Iraqis. Good man. Yeah, stole a lot of oil for America, didn't he? Yeah, helped keep the petrodollar going, didn't he? When a certain Saddam Hussein wanted to get away from the petrodollar and keep American hands off of Middle Eastern oil. At the same time as keeping a much better level of stability in the region with his hatred of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. That's the Al-Qaeda that the CIA created, by the way. I hope everyone's keeping up and writing this down. So yeah, that's Saddam Hussein, that's Tony Blair. Is that who he's referring to? The man who lied about weapons of mass destruction being assembled in Iraq in 45 minutes. That Tony Blair? Slick Tony? Who didn't even want to face taking an absolute smashing in an election. So he passed that buck on to Gordon Brown, who then went on to lose 91 seats. A record at the time for the Labour Party. One that Keir Starmer's going to absolutely smash as well. So yeah, like I said before, do not let Tony Blair anywhere near this thing. We know why. We know what's going on. And I think, I don't know, would it be out of the realms of possibility that we'd maybe see the likes of Bush Jr., George W. rearing his head again? Would they be dragging him back up and back into this? Well, we did such a great job last time, guys. We've really got to get you on board because we made a lot of money.
And some others, and they'll be named over the next few days. And it'll be quite the board. Working, everybody wants to be on it now. I don't know if that had anything to do They named me and everybody else wanted to be on it. I guess
the only thing that would make it legitimate to call it a board would be that it's full of planks. And I'll leave that there. God, just how far up your own arse can you disappear? Not that this guy's even got any talent or anything to have an ego about. This guy spends most of his time complaining, even though he's had one of the most privileged lives that you can have. Fucking tosser. Right, just another quick check on the Flotilla live. Still, oh, there's still a cam down. So there's just 3 of them broadcasting at the moment. It's not worth turning on the live chat on that one. It's so busy that your message has disappeared off the screen by the time you've hit enter, and you can't really keep up. There's no narrative is what I'm saying. We're not going to get any updates from there. But at the moment, this is live, so no news is good news. Like I said, that's probably just a telecoms problem with the lack of broadcast. Or maybe just maybe they've just decided to stop their live feed, who knows. All good at the moment, doesn't look like there have been any interceptions. I'll try and get you some latest stats for geographical nautical mileage in terms of distance from the flotilla and the coast boats. For now, let's check out a few clips from some people who are on board. You'll see a few familiar faces here. Don't mean me, by the way. Maybe next time. If I acquire some sort of sea vessel for whatever reason. Okay. A few clips now. Come back to that.
For each day that goes by, we are one step closer to Gaza, which makes us feel more motivated and determined than ever. But of course, as each day goes by, the genocide continues to escalate, and the Palestinians are continued to be oppressed, mass slaughtered and starved. So the urgency of this mission cannot be overstated. But of course, as well, the closer we get to Gaza, the risk against us also increases. So we call upon each government to end their complicity in the genocide, and we call for them also to ensure a safe passage for our peaceful humanitarian mission.
So we are 400 miles from Gaza, which means that Thursday we are gonna reach the interception point of the Madlin, and then
well, that's today. They're well within 200 miles now, for anyone who wasn't watching earlier.
Handara. Today, a flotta, which is like a group of activists that stand for the freedom of movement for all the people in the Mediterranean Sea, joined us again. Then there are 2 more boats from Cyprus and Turkey joining the fleet. Then 6 more vessels set sail yesterday from Catania, and the Conscious, which is the biggest ship from Freedom Flotilla, is setting sail tomorrow. It's gonna have 100 people on board. We have here 1 military vessel from Italy, the Alpino, and the Spanish one is coming, and 3 more countries are considering to send more military vessels.
This is the final leg of our mission. We have been stopped through storms, technical stops, but also through bombings. But none of that made us lose our hope. We are hopeful that we will reach the shores of Gaza, that we will break this illegal Israeli siege and deliver the much-needed humanitarian aid.
Yeah, we'll wish them well. Next we're going to hear from Mandela Mandela, grandson of Nelson Mandela.
Assalamu alaikum to everyone at home in South Africa, on the African continent, and all freedom-loving people of the world. We are once again in the Mediterranean Sea, refueling and giving supplies to other ships. This is our last refueling as we are closer and closer to Gaza. Each day and each night that passes, we are getting closer to fulfilling our mission, breaking the blockade and ending the siege, enabling the much-needed humanitarian aid to get to Gaza. We are all looking forward to seeing our brothers and sisters in Gaza. In a couple of days, it will be about 4 days remaining. Looking forward to getting to the shores of Gaza. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, and his and Greta's ship were amongst the 11 that were attacked by those drones. That was last week as well. Just a confirmation there as well that Turkey has become the 3rd country to provide navy to support the flotilla. So 4 warships from 3 different countries now surround the vessels. Someone who regular viewers I know will be familiar with as well, and I've featured a couple of his comedy clips on the show before, is Ty Hickey from Ireland, who's on board one of the vessels. I've got a couple of clips from him, including his latest one from just before I came on stream actually, so this is some really recent testimony.
Hey guys, I wonder would you be able to help me out with something? I'm just really confused again this morning about how the world works. So, you know Israel, the country currently on trial for genocide, they've published in the Jerusalem Post, you can just look it up, the cheeky monkeys, they've published details about their planned war crimes against the global Sumud Flotilla, the flotilla I'm part of. Just a reminder, the global Sumud Flotilla are the people trying to bring humanitarian aid, things like baby formula, to a besieged population in Gaza whom the Israelis are trying to starve to death. Now, if we're lucky, according to the Jerusalem Post, we're going to be kidnapped in international waters in about 2 days' time. If we don't agree to go to what they're describing as a floating prison in the sea, then we're going to be arrested and I would assume left to languish in Israeli prisons indefinitely. Now, if we're not so lucky, the former head of the Israeli Navy, the guy responsible for the 2010 Marmara massacre of 10 Turkish activists, he is threatening that there's likely to be a loss of property and or life because it's such a complex mission. So I just wonder, where's the international community? You know, a rogue state on trial for genocide with a litany of war crimes under its belt are threatening to murder, or best case scenario, kidnap, a bunch of non-violent humanitarians from across the world, 44 nations I think at the moment, who just want to help the besieged population of Gaza not to die. That's our biggest crime. The most incendiary item in our cargo is baby formula. I just wonder where the international community is, with the exception of the vessels that have come from Italy and Spain and Turkey. They're very welcome. But where's the international condemnation? Like, we know the international community, be they the media or world leaders, we know that you don't give a fuck about Palestinian life. That's been crystal clear over the last 2 years. But are you basically washing your hands of anybody who dares to stand up and offer the Palestinians some solidarity with substance? I'm on a boat with people from Sweden and people from Germany whose governments have effectively said to them, well, you knew what you were getting in for. They have effectively turned their back on the best of their country, the humanitarians who want to stand up and uphold international law, something that the Western governments particularly have completely abandoned. So I ask you once more, where is the international community? Where is the rules-based order? Are you actually going to allow us to be, best case scenario, kidnapped and maybe mass murdered in international waters for trying to do your job for you and uphold international law and break an illegal, immoral siege? And to the people of Gaza, I thank you one more time for your beautiful, beautiful messages. They mean so much to us. And if you think these types of bully boy tactics are going to deter us from our mission and we're going to turn around and say, oh, actually, we're going home, not in a million years. We made a promise to get to Gaza and to open up a humanitarian corridor. And as far as we're concerned, whether we have the backing of the international community or not, that is a promise that we intend to keep. Love to you all. Free. Hey guys.
Well said there, Ty Hickey. Yeah, where is the international efforts? Graham Turner, thank you very much for that super chat there. Viva Viva Palestina. Really appreciate that. Let's big up Graham in the chat, please, everybody. Thanks again. More, you're quite right. The British Navy should be there. Absolutely. I think it's absolutely shameful that we're not part of this effort. Got another video from Ty coming up. And then just a couple more points about the ceasefire deal. There was something I wanted to, I just forgot to mention earlier that I'll get on to, but another short video from Ty here. This is really recent, this one from today.
Hey guys, this is my last message, hopefully not my last ever message, but we're entering the red zone, so the likelihood of the cheeky monkeys, the Israelis, intercepting us and kidnapping us in international waters apparently has gone very high. So I just wanted to put on record that I have no regrets at all. I'm totally unrepentant, and if I had my time back again, I would definitely do this mission again. I'm so proud and privileged to be part of it, and I mean privileged because so many of my Palestinian friends would love to be on this mission with us, but if they came, they'd not only have a target on their back, they'd put a target on all our backs as well. What could sum up the injustice of the occupation more than that? I also want to say that I love my kids so much, and I really, really miss them, and I can't wait to see them. But in many ways, I went on this mission for my kids because I can't countenance them growing up in a world where people just turn their back on other people being mass murdered and starved to death. And I want them to grow up to be sure in the knowledge that they're great, but that everyone is great, and that no child is better or worse than any other child. So I don't know what's going to happen over the next few hours, whether we're going to be intercepted, which again would be a war crime, whether we're going to be mass murdered, because I see the Israelis are ramping up the propaganda to do that in the last few hours, or whether we're going to get to Gaza and make my whole dream come true of getting to the beaches of Gaza and meeting my friends there. I don't know what's ahead, but all I do know is that whatever happens, there is going to be a relentless conveyor belt of humanity and hope behind us. If I don't get there, I know my comrades behind me will get there, and I know that one day, very, very soon, Palestine will be free. Love to you all. Peace and love. See you on the other.
Yeah, let's hope the next video is of him distributing aid to Gazans. That'd be fantastic. So do go to Ty Hickey's channel and subscribe. He's a fellow YouTuber as well, a great comedian also, top guy. And they'll be well into that red zone now. I'm just going to upload a clip here. This is one clip I just forgot to play when we were talking about the ceasefire. Because no sooner, it's unbelievable. Well, I say it's unbelievable, but it just follows. When you remember how many times Netanyahu has purposefully derailed talks. But immediately after the announcement of the ceasefire deal, which it said included something of a withdrawal of the IDF. Netanyahu immediately makes a video to be broadcast on Israeli state TV saying that that absolutely is not going to happen. He basically says, okay, so you might like hear this on the news or whatever, that we're going to be pulling out of Gaza, but you know, I just had to say that to make this deal sound legitimate, but there's absolutely no way that that's going to happen. Yeah, he did that immediately after. And at first, I wasn't sure about how genuine this was, because it's probably just been sort of touched up a bit, but it did look like it might have been AI. Or maybe he just does have a big head for the frame of his body, or whatever way it was shot. But then, in the comments where I first saw it, there was a link for it actually being on Netanyahu's Twitter. So it's in Hebrew, you can see that there is subtitles.
במקום שהחמאס יבודד אותנו, הפכנו את היוצרות ובודדנו את החמאס. עכשיו כל העולם, גם העולם הערבי והמוסלמי, לוחץ על החמאס לקבל את התנאים שהצבנו יחד עם הנשיא טראמפ, לשרת.
Okay, are we back? We're back. We had a bit of a buffering situation there again on the YouTube studio. But I think all is well now. Just refresh there. So let's change that back to live chat. Can you all hear me? Just want to check that we're back. I think I know where I was up to in my little rant there. Please, anybody, let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Had a full disconnection on YouTube Studio for some reason. The chat disconnected and the connection. I am back. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for your reassurance. Thumbs up. Okay. My point was simply, whatever Trump or Netanyahu decides or refuses, Palestine as a state, whether they like it or not, that's been declared by the United Nations, who've all voted. He lost the vote, but yeah, it wouldn't be uncommon for Trump to lose a vote and try and expect the outcome to go his way, would it? Same with Netanyahu here. But can you see what I mean about the... I'll just rewind it slightly, because it's near the end of the clip there, but... it might have been... It's got some sort of filter on it, or whatever, to maybe make him look more presentable, but... I did suspect it might have been AI at first, but it is genuine. It was on his account, official Twitter account. But like I've never noticed this before. His head compared to the rest of his body, it's just huge. It's almost like a, you know, a music video or something like that might have something in it with characters with massive heads and small bodies. I'm just picking up on that because I just generally like to look at him as little
הצבאית
as possible.
וחיסולו. ולכן אני חושב שמכל צד זה היה ביקור
No,
מצוין.
it's real.
ראש הממשלה, יש שאלה שנשאלת, האם הסכמתם למדינה פלסטינית?
ממש לא. וגם לא
Yeah, so it's just, can you imagine another, how the world would laugh if this had been Donald Trump, who came out and then announced on Truth Social, you know, we just had this meeting with whatever such and such world leader, we agreed to this, but here's what's actually going to happen, because no way is what I agreed to going to take place. Despotic. Despotic, it really is. Old wobblehead. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a springy neck. Good point there in the chat, Graham, about TikTok. Yeah, so there's been this whole thing with TikTok for a while about it being sold, essentially. And I forgot the name of the guy. He's got awful, like, plastic surgery, and he looks like he's trying to turn himself into Cher or something. But yeah, he's the guy who's going to acquire it, and he is essentially, what do you call it? He acts on behalf of Israel. So essentially, yeah, via him, apparently they've managed to get control of TikTok now, which is obviously one of the world's largest social media platforms. I'm just struggling to remember the name of this guy, but yeah, he's got an awful complexion, and you can tell he's had a lot of work. He looks like a cross between Mickey Rourke and Cher. I don't know if you know the actor Mickey Rourke and Cher, who sings songs but doesn't move her mouth when she sings because of the surgery. Larry Ellison, that's the one. That's the one. Thank you, Mo. Larry Ellison, owner of Oracle. Yeah. Dirty work, and of course this is data acquisition as well. It's all about, you know, data algorithms, this sort of thing, and they want it. They want it because. Yeah, direct advertising, also macro trends for which way they're going to be betting or betting against on the stock market and so on and so forth. That's why they want TikTok, and for the propaganda as well. So you probably see a clamping down on pro-Palestinian content providers on TikTok and endless promotion of Israeli propaganda. Yeah, because that's what a real democracy is, isn't it, people? So a short time later, probably not too long after, spoiler alert, if we just go back over to the screen, just come away from the live feed of the Flotilla, which still looks situation-wise as before. Just got a quick look of it then. Going to the screen. As a result of that, as predicted, as per my lack of optimism, Hamas have officially said that Trump's peace plan ignores the interests of the Palestinian people and looks likely to be rejected. I would also suspect that the fact that Netanyahu went on state TV and said he has no intention of carrying out what he's promised for his side of the bargain in the deal had a contribution. I can't even believe that I'm relaying this to you the way that I am. Another good point there as well in the chat mode, just back to Larry Ellison. Yeah, last month he was the richest man in the world. He overtook Elon Musk, didn't he? Because Tesla's shares keep tumbling as per the lack of, well, everything he promises to his shareholders ever, essentially. Self-driving cars and whatnot. That's his. He's all in on self-driving cars financially. But yeah, back to that. It's no wonder, is it? You can't really be surprised that that's the way it's turned out. And they're right, it doesn't concern Palestinian citizens whatsoever in terms of building a democracy. Mentioning their plight, obviously, as the atrocity that it is. And the only thing that was mentioned was whether there'll be proper guarantees that Hamas won't be in charge of Gaza anymore. But nothing about restoration or the civilian population. There it is. There's those two sentences. October 7th, Hamas. Latest inaccurate numbers. It's well over 100,000 now. Definitely, it's got to be. But they're saying it's just under 66.1. This as well. It's very one-sided. Quoted a Palestinian journalist who says a Hamas rejection, God forbid, would mean giving Netanyahu a green light to continue the war with American Western backing to destroy what remains of Gaza and the central region. The people of Gaza cannot bear that. They are devastated, exhausted, desperate and hopeless. I reject that insinuation because it's Netanyahu and Israel's decision to launch any attacks. It's not Hamas's. So a rejection, especially given the fact that Netanyahu's announced he's not going to follow through on his ceasefire promises, is certainly warranted. And yeah, you can't try and blame Hamas for something that Israel do. You dare say that if it wasn't for Hamas, then the entirety of the Gaza Strip would have already been annexed and genocided already by now. Oh, and that's another thing. That's another just catastrophically terrible section of the proposed ceasefire deal. It essentially says you've got to agree to leave Palestine like a sitting duck, because, well, Netanyahu will say for the protection of Israel, so that Israel can't, because they're the victims, you know, so that this can't happen again. So they want them not to have any kind of military whatsoever. What would America agree to some sort of deal like that, for example? What sort of country? And again, other countries saying, "Oh well, you've got to agree to have no weapons as part of the deal." No, this, and especially, you know, America have written that into a ceasefire deal when it is literally written into their written constitution that their citizens have the right to bear arms. But when they're apparently through the, what was it called, the Board of Peace of shit, through that, the board, you know, they're going to expect Palestinian citizens and as a nation be unarmed. I just can't comprehend it anyway. That's what it says, yeah, bear arms. That's the actual words in the amendment. Second Amendment. Back then, it took like 2 minutes to manually load a musket. They wouldn't have dreamed that you could pick up a weapon that can fire however many rounds a minute, or that you could have missiles that can hit on the other side of the world. They didn't imagine atomic weaponry that can destroy entire cities. So it still says, yeah, bear arms. Just in case a tyrant, you know, ends up in charge, ends up in the White House. They wouldn't want that to happen, would they? It's a good job that they're all armed to the teeth with well over 250 million guns. It's gone up actually, I think, probably since the last time I checked official stats. I think I remember reading reports that since January 6th insurrection, weapons sales skyrocketed again, as they did during the, you know, the terror hype post September 11th, that sort of thing. So yeah, it happened again. Hundreds of millions of guns, but say Palestine aren't allowed any. You know, they wouldn't want them to be able to defend their own country like every country has a right to do. Should be Israel who are disarming and disbanding and ending up in The Hague. Still just the 3 cams on the live tracker. Live feed, I should say. So that's the Aras Al Sharif 1. I think that one's called the Milad on the bottom left, and then Soul of My Soul over on the right, that we can see. And so far, no news, which is good news. Well into that red zone though. Now people, I was wondering actually, when we get to the end of the stream, would you like to do a raid, or would you prefer if I just leave this live feed of those 3 ships up for a bit? Let me know if you've got any preference in the chat for anybody watching live. And whilst you decide, I'll just say thanks again to all the members on the channel. Thanks for the gifted memberships and renewals on tonight's stream. And for the super chats as well. Really do appreciate all the support. If you want to join this list of marvellous members, the Brew chat shows, it's just 99 pence. Please do check out some of the perks, including exclusive content. You'll get early viewings on content, a bunch of stuff. Other ways you can contribute via the Buy Me a Coffee page. There's a link for that in the description of the stream. And if you're watching back later on, super thanks are also open. Thank you very much, people. Stu also celebrating 4 months of membership. There we see. I appreciate you being here, Stu. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, good point there, Floor Snake, about the mods. Well, yeah, I guess if you want to keep up with that, like JK says there, you can, if you're watching on desktop, whatever, just put it in another tab. It's Freedom Flotilla Coalition. It's from their official page, so if you want to go over there, you can put that in another tab. And I'll have to look who's live for a raid. We will go over and join Kevin Logan, I believe. Yeah, I'll post a link in the chat there as well, if you want to stick this in another tab. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so you get 2 for 1 streaming into Kev, as you point out there, Stu. They're generally live at the same time, in conversation with each other. Should point out as well, but I'm sure a lot of you viewers know that. So we'll head over there now. Please stick around to the end of the stream though for the raid, because you never know when you might get some end after credits fun. All right, but that'll be it from me. I'll be back for another Brews at 10 later in the week. Of course, as I said earlier, no PMQs tomorrow. But hit the notification bell and make sure that you don't miss out. So yeah, take care, people. My Left, I'll be seeing you soon. Power to the people and free Palestine.